gardening, we're always constructing a lot of different fun projects, and today is no different. We are going to be building a raised bed, and we are putting that here in the Concepts Garden. This is a place where visitors can come and see firsthand those projects and how they're constructed. Joining us today is Professor Ching Luo, who is a landscape architecture professor here at Oklahoma State University. And her class is actually going to help us with this project. Professor, can you tell us why this is important for your class?
Certainly. So this is Landscape Architectural Construction 2 class. And the focus of this class is to focus on sustainable elements in the landscape design. So one thing is such as sustainable stormwater, and also we focus on sustainable hardscape materials. So this particular hands-on activity, we will be focusing on the hardscape materials, specifically try to reuse material from reclaimed or scrap materials, because that has huge environmental benefits, has lots of social benefits, and also economic benefits.
And we've been working behind the scenes in preparation for this. We've been discussing this project and the role that a landscape architect plays with the client. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So basically, landscape architects are a type of professionals that could design practically any type of outdoor spaces. So for this particular activity, we construct a type of outdoor furniture, which is in a vegetable raised bed.
So Professor, on this particular project, I came to you with a couple of ideas that I wasn't even sure were going to work. I wanted kind of an octagon shape, and the value, I think, was that you helped me work through some of those angles before we got out in the field. Can you explain a little bit of that?
Yes, certainly. That was a really fun process. So you and I sat down for several times. We started from drafted hand graphic design to figure out more and more details and fine-tuned all the accurate layout until I put it in computer. We have all the dimensions, detailed dimensions, all the heights and all the different angles before we actually go out to get the materials.
Which really saved us, because we would be out here trying to make some shapes that we have changed since, because we figured out they wouldn't work due to it being on the computer and figuring that stuff out. So now we're on phase 1 with these raised beds. There are more phases to come. But we've got our DG, our pervious paver down, and we're ready to build these raised beds.
So the first question you might have is, why a raised planting bed over a ground level planting bed? Well, if you're elderly or disabled, then this makes it more accessible for you to get to your plants as needed, and it also eliminates the need to bend over and grab things or stoop over. So the materials that we have used are purchased, but you can get reclaimed materials or something that you've used in a past project. And these are your first materials, and these are the tools that you'll be needing. The first step of building this planting bed is you will need a 55-gallon drum, and you're going to cut it lengthwise, like so. The next step of this process is you're going to take a 2x4 and you are going to measure it the length of the barrel, and you will need 3 of these to attach on both sides of each barrel.
The best way to start is actually to pick it up and clamp it to the side. We start here. We have our pre-drilled holes. There's 3 of them evenly spaced on the side here. We just take the screw, we take the washer, we just put it through, and we just go ahead and drill and attach the 2x4s here. We're going to do it for each length. So we'll do it for this starting length here. We'll attach it, clip it. We'll go to this one here in the middle. We'll do the same. We start from the inside where the pre-drilled holes are, and we go ahead and screw it right into the frame. And lastly, we'll do it on the other side here. So you'll have 3 2x4s spread about, connected on each of the ends.
So now we've attached our first 2x4s to the planter, we'll begin attaching the 4x4s for our support system of the planter. So here you can see we've got notches cut into our 4x4s. These are to fit the 2x4s that we have already attached. The exact dimensions of the 2x4 are,
so starting with the barrels flipped over upside down,
we're going to actually take these 4x4s and attach them to the corners of the 2x4s. So we're going to take this 4x4 and take the notched end and set it on top of the 2x4 and make sure you have it as straight as possible. And then we're going to take 4 screws and screw this in, the 4x4 into the 2x4. Be careful to make sure that you have screws that are long enough to go into the 2x4, but not too long enough to go into the barrel itself.
Now that we have the measurements for the bottom and top of the barrels, we're going to cut out 4 different 2x4s. 2 that fit the measurements for the top side of the barrel, and 2 that fit the dimensions for the bottom side of the barrel. Now, if you're lucky, unlike us, the top and bottom sides of the barrel will be the same measurement, so you'll end up with 4 2x4s that are equal in size. We ran into a little bit of trouble because our top side was 2 inches longer than the bottom side, so we had to make up for that in our cuttings. Once you have those cuttings, you're going to take 1 for the bottom side and 1 for the top side. We're going to attach it to the framework on the respective sides. So what we did was we put 4 screws into each leg and 2 screws into the middle barrier 2x4. You can, if you're feeling confident, only use 2 screws in each location. If you want a little bit of extra security, you can put 6 in the legs and 3 in the middle barrier. But ultimately, any of those will work. So don't overthink it, don't make it too complicated, because I'm sure you're going to nail this. Now that we have those initial 2x4s drilled in on the outside of the framework, we're going to take the 2 remaining and add them on the inside of the legs for a bit of additional support. So right here, this is one of the top side barrel 2x4s. So you want to make sure you've got the right 2x4. You don't want to put the bottom one on the top side because it may not fit. So make sure you've got the right 2x4 for the right side. And we're going to make it flush with the underside of the tank that we've used. And again, we're just going to add 3, maybe 4 screws inside the legs to make sure that this is nice and sturdy and it's not going to come apart on you.
So now we will need the table to be flipped over. And after having your table flipped over, you will need to drill in 3 holes on each side of the barrel, top and bottom. And after doing that, you will need washers and screws. So once you have your washers and screws, you will need to screw about 3 of these into the top and bottom of the barrel to attach it to the 2x4s.
So now going into the barrel, you're going to drill 6 holes to allow for drainage. And actually you can leave this table as is, but for a more decorative touch, you can add decking board to make a frame around the table. So to begin with, you're going to need to measure each side of the table. You're going to use that measurement to measure out how long you need the decking board. And using the framing square, you're going to make a 45-degree cut so you can place them around the table.
The next step is use sandpaper to smooth the wood because this angle are sharpened, and this step will help to avoid unnecessary harm. Finally, we paint wood with wood preservative to seal the wood.
Wow, Professor, this table raised bed looks great. We just need to add some soil and get some plants in here. Thank you, class, for helping with this project.
Good job, you guys.
So, Professor, you know, the LA program has a lot to offer. Where can people get more information about it?
We have a great program. Please visit our website.
We hope you enjoyed this video. It's part of our Oklahoma Gardening YouTube channel. You can also find even more videos on our OK Gardening Classics YouTube channel. And join us on social media for great gardening tips, photos, and discussion.